Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you this tank that I've been working on here a little bit. I got a name for it finally. It is the Hades HT or heavy tank. And I've got a few different versions of it spawned around here. And basically, this is kind of what it looks like in the end. This one, these first three versions are very stripped down. So obviously missing a whole lot of turrets, thrusters, and other things to balance the CPU out. But I just thought I'd show you the overall body on this right now. Now this one is missing 6 of its big thrusters, and it's missing a lot of shield parts and a lot of guns and some generators and everything else to get that CPU balanced out. But overall, it was working out pretty good. I did have a issue with it though, and I'm trying to solve this issue. Well, let me just show you what's going on here. So on the inside, we've got there's like 2 different compartments. So you got this front compartment here, which is basically meant for some utility function, like it has a trauma station, armor locker, and a clone chamber. And then it is set up to hold a bunch of shield parts. It does have some of those installed in this version, so you've got 4 capacitors and 2 chargers. And then it has locations to add in 3 additional generators up here as well. I do have one in that lower slot. Basically, driving it around, I figured in this spec version of the tank, it needs only 3 generators to make it happy, charging the shield while driving around at the same time. So that's kind of where I put it at, so I can get the most amount of guns as I could on it. And then it has this back area here. Now this had a bit of a problem, and something I fixed up on the next version, where I had the shield right above the doorway. Even though this is supposed to be a separate O2 zone, that breaks it, and this is funky. I didn't like that, so I wanted to move the shield. That was one of the aspects of it. And then it has a drone hatch back here, and this has been just a thorn in my side, is this drone hatch. This one you can get to work, but it's tricky. It's tricky. You got to like get in the right position, jump, and hit like F5 to deploy the drone just at the perfect timing. And then, oh, maybe it doesn't want to work at all now. There it goes. See, so it's you can get it to work, but it is just really problematic. So I wanted to kind of fix that up as well. So and obviously one other thing back over here too, it's running 2 10K ammo bays in it, and that is its only storage besides. Nope, this version doesn't have it. Never mind. And then you can put up to 12 quantum or auxiliary cores in here. These interior walls are not carbon either. I think they're just steel, but it's just some extra protection around this area here. And the main core of the tank is up over here, and there's a lot of stuff you'd have to get blown up before that core gets popped coming through the front. Now I do have this cavity here, which I think I'm just gonna I was trying to reduce the weight a little bit, and I left it hollow right now, but and there's a lot of hardened steel blocks in the area too. All the ones with that particular texture are hardened steel. Yeah, I'll probably just fill this in and have it just weigh a little bit more. But then you go back, what is it, 1, 2, 3 more block rows of hardened steel, and then it finally gets to the core. But I figured this would be a nice breaker point, and the intention here is if you took that much damage, where you literally had a hole all the way up to the core in the front of your tank, it's probably best to just shut the tank down. And this is your like circuit breaker, I guess you could say. So then the AI hopefully will stop shooting at you and things like that. And then the pilot can also live. That could be a little bit problematic though, because if your core gets blown out, it's probably going to still try to shoot the pilot. Which maybe the pilot, I don't know. But I was trying to keep. I don't want this part of the tank to get damaged or destroyed, because this is where obviously all the Core 9 CPU blocks are, and where you get into your storage controllers, and if you got quantum or auxiliary cores in here, they would be in this area, as well as the shield and your passengers, everything. I wanted to keep this room kind of safe, and that's why I got this. That's why I got the main core where it is. Now, let me know if you disagree with that. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this could be done. This was just my current thinking, at least, on where I got the core at. Just try to protect the inside, try to protect all these more expensive parts that are in here the best I can as well. Even these side areas, there's hardened steel blocks kind of embedded in a lot of these areas around the whole thing. The back I try to soup up quite a bit as well. So it's got kind of, including these grates here, it does have like 3 hardened steel blocks before it gets to a couple of the generators that are sitting in the back of the tank. And obviously the other ones get installed in this front area. Which are still kind of, I mean, if you look at the locations of where these parts are, you've got a lot of bulk in front of all these locations because of these thruster housings and everything that are kind of blocking that area off. So even at these locations, they are fairly embedded into the creation, and they're not like on the outer hull. Again, I'm really trying to make this thing to be able to take some good hits and things like that after the shield's out. So anyway, that is that version. So the second version here, what I attempted to do is to fix the drone hatch. And as you can tell, how the drone hatch is kind of lowered down in the back under the wing on this one. On this one, I raised it up so it's on this row, and it's not under the wing anymore. And on this version in testing too, I even removed the cockpit here, and I got this big open area here, and you know what? It still doesn't work, which is really, really, really frustrating. So if I get out of God mode here a second, try to deploy a drone here. Oh, here, let me get the HUD on as well. It just refuses to let me do it at all. Even though there's like literally 5 blocks of ceiling here, and all this area is opened up, it's still, no matter where I go, I cannot deploy the drone. So this isn't working out either. I did move the shield back though, so it's just kind of, it's sitting behind the doorway, and this room has a separate O2 zone versus this front area of the creation here. All right, so that is on that version. Complete failed attempt at the drone hatch on this one. Let me get out here. Let's go over to this version. Now this right now is my current release candidate, or the one I was planning on putting on the workshop. Again, I balanced the CPU out a little bit more on this one. So it is under 51,000 now by about 400. I try to equip it with enough to make it useful when you first get it without upgrading it. So it's got 4 positron turrets, 2 laser cannons, manual fire laser cannons, and 6 missile turrets on it, plus 2 of the Gatling turret, or I'm sorry, minigun turrets on it to shoot at the drones and stuff. Just has a detector and not the long-range radar on this one. And of course, it's also missing half the shield parts and a lot of the thrusters on here as well. But final specs on this one, again, the current release candidate, it will do 33 forward, 33 strafing, and 37 reverse. 8 fuel tanks, 6 oxygen tanks, and it has basically the weapons I just listed already. A 4-hour and 49-minute build time. Does require some Estrum and Zacosium, but not a lot. And other than that, it's just kind of a, your typical Core 9 build. Has no RCS in this build, but the hover engines and some of the thrusters, I believe, count as RCS in this listing over here. So that is kind of what I'm thinking about putting to the workshop, where you could use it. Oh, the shield on this one is 2330. Now, a couple things that are kind of tripping me up a little bit is, here, let me get the HUD back on. If we take a look at HV parts with shields, right now, the only thing in creative mode that you can put in is a mobile shield generator, which is the wimpy one, or this Psycho one, this augmented small shield generator, which is huge amount of CPU, and I'm sure it's a very good part, but it's not anything. Oh yeah, 12,000 CPU by itself. But this isn't anything I can put in the tank. I don't even know what you would have to do in game to get this part or build this part or whatever. But yeah, I certainly can't put it in. But there's no heavy shield option anymore, and that's kind of, there used to be. I remember seeing a heavy shield in here, and that's what I wanted to put in here, but it's just not an option any longer. So it's just got this wimpy one in here, with some additional shield parts, and that kind of brings the shield down quite a bit, actually. Um, and I'm not even sure what the CPU or the shield is on the heavy shield generator. I'll have to probably fire up a survival game and try to manually upgrade it to find out. I don't, again, really know what it is. Now, I've got another version of the tank around here. This one is one that I put all the parts back in and outfitted with 7 quantum cores in it. And this one is definitely a lot more souped up. It's got all its thrusters. It's got 5 of the 6 generators in place. It does have 5 positron turrets on the front, a total of 10 missile turrets. The back 3 are tier 2s, and then it does have the artillery back in place, and then 4 of these minigun turrets in the back, including also the long-range radar and additional shield parts to bring it up to 3710 in shielding. And that's basically running 8 capacitors and 4 chargers. Now, another thing that came up when I was building this, I had another row up here where I could put in more shield parts here. And I got rid of that row entirely. Essentially, you can put in 8 of each type in a creation. But when I started putting in more, like another row of 4 shield charges to balance or to match it, it reduces the shield so much I found it pointless and worthwhile, or not worthwhile, to waste a CPU on it, because every time you add one of these, it reduces your shield strength, and which is not cool. I mean, so yeah, it reduced it by so much that I would never want to run that configuration ever. So it only has 12 shield locations and not 16. And that's kind of why. And not to mention, this was a bit of a vulnerability where I had the shield parts, and I filled those in actually with hardened steel blocks now. So it made it a little bit tougher in the process. Other than that, that's kind of how this thing is working. On this version here, getting around and navigating and stuff, it runs nice. It's got a lot of thrust power in it. You can strafe well, change your direction strafing pretty quickly, and it's nice and maneuverable for like attacking POIs, and also has enough thrust power to get up the steep gradients of terrain and things like that. So you can climb these walls with relative ease and go almost vertically up a hill practically. So it works out pretty good. But again, this particular version, quite a bit more expensive, running 7 quantum cores in it to get the numbers the way they are. But the other versions, I didn't want to keep them completely unusable at Core 9, so that's why they're configured the way they are. And they're not awful either. Like if I take my current release candidate and drive that around, it's not as quick as the one with the more thrusters in it, of course, but it's not terrible either. It actually weighs less because it's got less turrets on it, so it gets a little bit of stuff back from that. And I also have this balanced out too, so with 3 generators in this version, so it's set up so it can charge a shield well, roaming around and doing things, so it doesn't cause any power issues. So basically, I put the minimum number of generators in this one to make it functionable with the shield charging and moving around at the same time. But it's still not bad. It still gets around pretty good. It's not quite as thrusty, obviously, as the quantum version, I guess you could say, but it still works out. And I'm hoping the loadout would be effective enough starting out with POIs and things like that. With the 4 positrons and the 2 laser cannons, you should be able to take down a shield. And then with the 6 missile turrets, you should be able to, blow up the turrets on the POI or whatnot, whatever you're shooting at. And then you still got a couple turrets here that could be dedicated to just shooting at the drones and the ground forces and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's where I'm at with this right now. Unfortunately, I don't even know if I mentioned this, but I totally cut the drone hatch out on this particular version. But I'm really thinking about restoring it back to the problematic but first attempt at the drone hatch. I'm not sure, not this one here either, but like this, because this actually did allow you to get a drone out. It's just a pain in the butt. Sometimes you get it out first try. Other times you could try to mess with it 10 times before you had a successful drone launch. It's annoying, and I wish it would work better. But I'm at wit's end right now. I don't really know what to do about it. Either I cut it or I keep it in a problematic state. And I think I'd rather still have it in a problematic state as to not have it there at all. And the only reason I really want that hatch would be on specific situations where, say, you're on a hell planet or something that's really nasty out, and you don't want to go, you don't want to leave the vehicle, and you want to pick up loot that's laying on a POI somewhere. So you could deploy your drone and go grab the loot with it. And that is the sole purpose of it. It's not for a player to get in and out of the tank with. In fact, I don't even think you could. But that is why. Other than that, I think I will shut up, and please let me know if anything comes to mind. I'll probably release this midweek, maybe like Wednesday. I wanted to try it out a little bit in game. I'll probably bring in the my current release candidate, obviously stripped down Core 9 version of the tank, and kind of test it out. Maybe soup it up a little bit in game, experiment with some different weaponry and things like that, see how it works out. But then maybe try to get this out like right now. My target goal is Wednesday out to the workshop. I'm really trying to make this one work nice. I wanted a new tank that is up to date, at least with Reforged Eden 1, and be able to have it as my go-to tank. My go-to tank in the past, or in the recent past, was the Scorpion, but that one doesn't have enough shield capacity in it to make me super happy, and it gets a little tripped up on things. Where this one maneuvers around better, I would say, and it's got more thrust power, and it can be more powerful than what the Scorpion is all the way around. Just more everything. It's bigger though. It's also more expensive. So I mean, you get what you pay for, I suppose. But and of course the version with all the extra guns and everything is the ultimate goal, is to get it souped up into this state. With the upgraded heavy shield in it as well, and that would be the actual goal there. Maybe even soup up some more of these turrets, or try some different types of turrets. I'm just kind of going with what I know works. And this one also has plasma cannons. Has 4 of these plasma cannons built into it too, which I really like the plasma a lot, because it's pretty hard hitting and also hits shields pretty decently as well. So it's kind of like you can use them for shield takedowns, and you could also use them to actually blow up, the hull of something else, or turrets on something else. So other than that, I will shut up at this point in time, and you all have yourself a great day. Please let me know your thoughts on this, and where I should go with it. And one kind of important question: should I try to restore? And I know I can restore this. Should I try to put back in the semi sort of usable but kind of wonky drone hatch? Would you find that to be better than no drone hatch at all? Now keep in mind, one advantage to the version with no drone hatch is it is stronger. Putting in that drone hatch does weaken the structure, but it weakens it in such a spot that I don't think the AI is going to be hitting you there. Just a guess. It would be a really weird spot for the AI to get a shot in over here, especially if the back of the tank is also kind of protected. Not saying it couldn't do it. I'm just saying it would be a weird spot for the AI to shoot you at. But splash damage and things like that could easily destroy these very, very weak doors. And there's not any strong doors you can put in on an HV either. They're all really, really weak. And that's why I've got them even doubled up on the sides over here to try to make it a little bit stronger. But they're very vulnerable, any way you look at it. All right, well, I will shut up for real this time. You'll have yourself a great day. I'll talk to you later.